Isn't that like the coolest thing
That is
in the entire
amazing.
world?
That is epic intro madness, is what that is, Rick.
Yeah, Josh.
What is
Scott
up,
Bell on us?
everybody? And look, Scott dumped it right when we started the show. Scott was like, "I'm out." What's up, everybody? I am Josh Hayes. We are live on Keystroke Medium. We have the whole crew almost. Scott will be here in a minute, and we're going to be talking about 20 books to 50K 2019 this year in Vegas. It was a phenomenal conference. I think everybody had a really good time, and we're going to spend some time talking about it today. Everybody in the live chat, hello. We have 78 new comments since I looked at it. I don't know how many that I don't even think I can find the first one. The first one does not show for me. So let's see, who's at the top of the list here?
Wait, I have the chat popped out.
I don't even have it open.
I don't know. The first one I have is Rick, but he's saying hello to Luke. So
Luke's probably the first one. So we should give Luke the golf clap of appreciation for.
No. Number one.
No, wait.
Usual number one.
Live
It is
chat.
Shadow the Illustrator.
Oh, Shadow the Illustrator. All right.
Okay.
Golf clap of appreciation for Shadow the Illustrator. Welcome. Let's see. Holy crap. Who's here? Let's see. Bard of today. Lou, Molly, Rick, Shadow,
Molly.
Christy McClellan, Dean, consistently, Christy. Oh, man, there's a whole crap ton of people in the live show. Hey, what's up, Jake Lifton?
I know Mr. Frisbee was out there as well. KR.
Yeah. Oh, Clara Woods is there. Kronos. I'm going to mess this up. And that you're going to have to pronounce that. Anathema? I think I got that right. I'm going to give myself a gold star for getting that right. Oh, and T.S. Huddle's here too. Scott's finally back. We can add Scott. Boom.
Yay! It's almost like we're together again.
Together again, watching me horribly hit golf balls into nowhere.
Always to the right.
Always to the right. But I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Scott was like the best golfer ever.
Holy crap.
But I lost every game. I just hit him really far. Tyler won every single game.
That's right. Yeah, I think Tyler had some kind of plan. I don't know. It was like I'm gonna win. What do they call it? A pool shark when you like.
Yeah, he hustled us.
Yeah, we got us.
It's a good thing you didn't play for money.
I played for money.
We played for blood.
Yeah.
I don't know how many. Let's see, how many people here were actually at 20 books this year? I know Clara was. Jay, obviously. Jay Clifton like ran around like a madman.
He
hardest
crazy
working man in show
handled
business.
any room that he was in. He crazy handled. I mean, the guy was on fire. Like, super clap for Jay. I mean, he's picking up trash after people, leaving them behind. I mean, he was awesome.
Oh, hey, Jeffrey Haskell's here. He said it was a good time. True. And then, of course, William Tyler Davis. Oh, now his name is Bill now. We call him Bill.
I thought you called him Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk?
Yeah.
Either one. Doesn't matter. Yeah, all of us except for Chuck was at 20 books this year, and we all cried and had like a little sip of whatever we were partaking in Chuck's memory. But I had a great time at the conference. Scott and I even got to sit on a couple panels, and it was pretty entertaining. There was a lot of people there that we had met the last 2 times that we've gone, and a lot of new faces that will come up and say, "Hey, we listened to the show, and we've never seen them on the live chat." So if you're one of those people that hang out in the lurking phases of Keystroke and you never say hi, because we like to see.
Shout out.
Shout it out.
We can't make fun of you if we don't know who you are.
That's right. Exactly.
Fun will be made.
We'll do a little bit about what we had going on last week. Other than the conference, I got, right when I got home, some cool things.
Nice.
I got the paperback of book 2, and then the revamped cover with Nicholas. You can't see
Edge of Vader series. What does that say? I can't
Vader.
quite read it.
It's got the Nick Sansbury Smith quote on the cover for the
Nice.
first book, and then the second paperback. Got a whole crap ton of those. Yeah, actually, this is the pre-David Weber. David Weber will be on this cover. He's just not on there yet.
All right, cool. That's important.
But it looks pretty good.
Rick says that's the essence of Vader.
Yes, thank you. Other than that, last week was all about the conference. I didn't do any writing, but I did it on purpose, and essence of Vader. But I know a lot of people did some writing. Scott managed to do some writing on the plane. We got separated on the plane there.
But I made $20 on the plane.
He did make $20. Look at that. Josh Giselle's a name dropper. Look at that. Hi, Josh.
Also Josh's.
If you've never hung out with Josh, first of all, I'm just going to throw this out there. Ken Lazito in person, completely different than on the podcast. Because in the podcast,
he's so cool. He's always chill.
Well, yes, on the podcast he was cool too, but on the podcast his camera was like looking down, and so I was like, "Oh, Ken's super small. Like he's like a tiny guy. He's like
he's kind of like a hobbit.
He's definitely not a hobbit. He's like almost bigger than Josh Giselle, and Josh Giselle is huge. Let's see, I butchered his name. I butchered Kronos' name, but I'm sorry about that.
It's probably going to continue to happen until you get some real coaching.
That's right.
We had one of our dinners we went to because we had all kinds of dinners and meetups. I walked up and it was CCKK, Ken Lazito, and Josh Giselle, and I felt like a small child, like tiny man compared to these people.
Well, let's go around the room then and talk about what was our favorite thing from the conference, and then we'll kind of break down all the rest of it. We'll start with Scott. Go.
Not it. I already said not it.
I thought you guys took really good pictures.
All the pictures.
I took zero pictures at all.
Me?
It was probably our best photo bomb type 20 books yet because we had people actually doing it. Josh and I are complete losers in that regard. So we always start out like, let's take a bunch of pictures, and we take about 3, and then it's over for the rest of the conference. This time we had a much better documentation.
Big camera didn't take any pictures of that.
I know.
My absolute favorite is my photo bomb of Josh and Ellen's picture. I'm just like,
Oh, that keystroke meetup was really fun. I thought it was super chill.
That was probably on the top. If I have to go first, that was the biggest thing. You know, we started off the first day, and so we met up with a bunch of people we hadn't met in person before. And we went out to, what was it called, Ale and
Aces and Ale.
Aces and Ale. Hung out for a couple of hours, had some good food, and there was pool and shuffleboard, but we didn't. I think only one group of people played pool. Mostly we just talked and drank beer and ate food. And it was actually pretty good. So
yeah,
it was a little bit of an adventure walking it was like a 10-minute walk through Vegas.
It was the beginning of what I should have realized was all the walking.
Oh yeah,
endless walk.
Yeah, lots of walking. It was good. I liked all the meetups. Of course, we can go into those. And my favorite panel was probably the Mill Sci-Fi panel. It just flowed really well. And of course, I knew everybody in there. I was watching them on there. We went there to heckle. We didn't do nearly enough heckling. We promised a lot of heckling. We didn't heckle that much. So that was kind of a drag.
Some people got pictures taken of them while they were sleeping.
Yeah. Yes.
Gee, I wonder who that could have been.
And then doing the panels was good. Josh and I did our first panel for the branding, which I was a little bit nervous about, and it was packed. So that was I hope this goes well.
You guys got to talk about your fashion choices?
Yeah. That was a short conversation.
T-shirts. First of all, I had no idea that room, like Scott said, it was packed, but I was envisioning going into like a small, like one of the side rooms. And this place was
Hawthorne room, I think. It was
probably the second biggest room for the conference. And it was packed. And I was like, you guys want me to talk to these people?
Yeah.
And then Lauren and I thoroughly embarrassed them, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and then Scott thoroughly embarrassed you guys.
Yeah, but I took a bow and handled it like a champ, man.
You did, actually. That was the best part. So
I didn't get to see any of that because I was on my own panel at the same exact time.
I know. Lauren and I were running back and forth like crazy people trying to see at the same time.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, Lauren, what was your favorite thing about the conference this year?
Well, definitely it was seeing everybody. And we didn't even get through the doors before we started seeing people. We walked up to the building and out comes CCKK and we're like, first hug, first person, he's right there. And then we're talking, we're catching up. And then out walks Kevin J. Anderson and Rebecca Mesta. They walk right out and now the group of us chatting and catching up. That was and then some children ran past us. They'd stolen a cell phone from inside the building.
Awesome.
We were watching vandalism play out right before our eyes, but
I love cities so much.
Yeah. Actually, there was actually at least one other theft that I know of, because Amy Duboff got her husband's bag stolen from wherever they were at. And then another author said that, and I don't remember who it was, but said that she was sitting at a slot machine with her bag on the floor, but her foot was like looped through the bag of the
As a smart person would
handle. Yeah. And somebody like came by and literally tried to pull it off her foot.
wow.
They didn't slice it.
What? They
They didn't slice it.
didn't slice it.
Just cut the strap and
cut
take
the
it.
strap
No,
and run
no.
with
Like
it.
she was like reaching down trying to grab it, and I guess she like reached down and they made eye contact, and the other was like,
So we all need Dave from Smarter Artists. Remember, he always had the decoy wallet.
Yeah.
true.
I think that'd be a legitimate thing, a good decoy.
That's true.
Although I'm curious to see what when they stole Amy's purse, or her husband's, not her purse, her husband's bag. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
What kind of things they found in there? Because the guy has a considerable amount of style. At one event we went to, he was dressed in a R2D2 3-piece suit
Yes.
with an R2D2 beanie cap,
Nice.
and it was perfect. And he just wore it like a champ. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Hey, JR Hanley finally showed up. He's washing dishes. What's up, JR? Make sure you get the little bits of food before you put them into the dishwasher, because it doesn't clean them.
You got to wash them before you put them in the
Yeah,
dishwasher.
you got to watch them before you wash them.
because it's not a garbage disposal; it's a washing machine.
That is true.
I had to
That's
get
great.
married to learn that.
I still do that, but then I load the dishwasher completely wrong and I have to redo it.
Oh, right. Of course. Well, I mean, you have a penis. Of course, you're going to do it wrong.
Ellen, what
You're
was your
supposed to use
favorite thing
that in the
about the
dishwasher?
conference?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. I didn't buy a single meal for myself. I was not allowed to buy a meal for myself. Seeing people I met last year, meeting new people, and just being comfortable. Actually being able to watch some of the panels because I wasn't coughing so loud that I got evicted from everything.
Like last year.
The whole thing was a really great experience for me, and I'll definitely be back next year, but I won't rent a car.
No. That's
Okay,
that's a whole own episode about that.
Yeah.
So,
What do you say,
as the only individual that didn't go, I want to go Josh, Lauren, Scott, Kalene, and Miss Smith here. And what was your biggest new takeaway from this conference, if any?
Hold on. Before we do that, Kalene has to talk about her favorite thing about the conference, and then we'll move to the next part.
Sounds good.
What was my favorite thing? Well, I made a post like that. My favorite thing really was just all the people. You know, I got to a level of peopling that I didn't realize I was capable of, because I was surrounded by, everyone who thinks like I do. I talk about things in the writing world and people don't look at me like I'm a crazy person. And shit face. Okay, no, my favorite thing.
That was beautiful.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Beautiful.
Wait for it.
Okay, so we were out with John Delarose, Ben Thompson, Lauren and Ellen and I were there. And Ben and I kind of stepped back a little bit because he was telling me he had the story that he had given and they accepted it, but now he had to actually flesh it out and not make it just a story idea. And we spent an hour just walking down the street, and freaking my mind was on fire with developmental, all the things, and freaking blowing each other's minds with all the ideas that were streaming and going, and that was awesome. I love that. That was my favorite part. Thank you, Ben. It was fun. Still want that first copy.
So my other favorite thing, since you brought that up, was the contrast between the first time we met Kalene at 20 Books and this year. Because the first time she came up, she made one very brave and challenging approach, and this time it was just like rock star all the time. Everybody, all the socializing, making people at ease. It was cool to see everybody, so
That's awesome.
comfortable. And the whole time I was there, actually, I realized about halfway through that conference that I didn't feel in a hurry almost the whole time, which for me is like, I didn't even know it was possible. So very relaxed.
Kalene was amazing. Lauren and I watched her every night, just in awe.
Working the crowd.
Watching her blossom.
Oh, you guys are making me blush.
Oh, we're gonna make you blush a lot more by the time you sit down.
No,
That's
when you
our-
make me blush, my nose blushes. And I have, anyway.
Writers' conferences are a really great place for introverts because we're all, well, so many of us are introverts, so you can kind of
right.
bond together over that experience and break out of your shell. It's okay.
Yeah, it's where introverts are not introverts as much.
Yeah.
Because people get it. So
Your inner extrovert comes out, and you can't
Well, I
even
mean, I
contain it.
think I'll be honest with you. I think that's a much bigger deal than a lot of people want to give credit for, is being around people who get it.
Yeah.
You know,
It's huge.
because I mean, I personally, with the exception of Ellen, who lives locally, I mean, I don't have anybody else in my life besides you guys that gets it. You know, that I can talk about writing and different things with. So I think, you know, if I get to go next year, I think that's going to be a big thing for me. Is I'll be with my people. You know, that's a huge thing. I think
it's the biggest thing, and I learned that in I went to OWFI, which is a small local conference, and just the energy you feel when you're around people that are also writers is worth the whole trip every time.
Yeah.
I think it's also cool when you specifically in the small group of people, the circle that we have in Keystroke and a couple other places, where you talk with those people all the time online, whether it's on Facebook or text or chat or whatever, and then you get to meet them in person, and sometimes they're a completely separate person. Like you wouldn't expect them to do these things and say these different things, and it's really cool to see the whole person come out. One experience I had was Rhett Bruno, who usually comes off as kind of not a shy guy, but kind of a quiet guy. He really like he spent the whole conference like basically punching me in the gut the whole, like every time something happened, he'd punch me in the gut. Like we were in this room, this meeting, and the speaker had just got finished saying, "Yeah, this is the biggest collection of movers and shakers in the sci-fi world, and really phenomenal authors, and we're putting them all in the same room." And Rhett leans over and he goes, "Except for you."
My favorite, one of my favorite moments is Josh goes, "Hey, did you get my stickers I gave you? Cause my key was your Valkyrie stickers and keys." And
it's Keystroke and Valkyrie
he goes, "Hey, you remember the stickers I gave you?" And without a beat, while we were walking, Rhett's like, "Yeah, they're in the trash can already."
So he made it his job to keep you humble.
Yeah,
Huh?
and Josh was like, "You're such an asshole."
Yeah.
It's just perfectly timed. It was great.
I respect that. I respect that a lot.
Good times.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. All right, Chuck, what was your question here a couple minutes ago?
No, I just wondered, because you and I did a show recently about people who just want to write, talking about not doing the whole authorpreneur thing. But I was wondering, with all these panels and everything, if each one of you came away with something new that you maybe didn't come away with last year, like some new marketing thing or some new whatever. What was aside from what you enjoyed, was there any like business kind of takeaways that you guys picked up at the conference? Lauren's trying so hard not to laugh right now. I'm wondering what's going on in her head.
Okay. Well, Chris Fox gave an excellent panel, and I immediately thought of Chris Fox's panel when you started asking, like, what was your favorite takeaway? It wasn't anything new necessarily, but he shared his history growing up and why he loves literature so much. He shared his story with being kidnapped by his mom, actually. He and his sibling were kept by his mom, who loved them, but she wasn't supposed to have them. And so he ended up on a milk carton bottle. And books became one of his main friends as they moved from place to place. And that reminded me of my childhood. I didn't go through that, but there are periods where I felt lonely and where I felt like books got me. And he said, authors, don't forget the way you felt when you were 8 years old and when you were reading a book. And write
a milk carton.
Write to the 8-year-old in your reader. And
yeah.
Papa Chuck, you said also, that it's not what you say that people remember, it's how you make them feel. And
Absolutely.
that really resonated with me. Now, the one thing he did say that was new to me was he found that his readers were a lot of truckers, like long haul truckers were a lot of his readers.
Really?
He started tailoring his Facebook ads, like including them within his search. And I think it was Chris Fox who said that. And he was able to sell more books from that. And that made me think, actually, probably a lot of the audiobook readers are truckers. And
Yeah, if you've ever been to a truck stop, they're full of audiobooks. So
Yeah.
so that one piece was something new that I learned. And then
Well, see, that's a good tip, though. You know,
Yeah.
your readers aren't just people that like read stuff like yours and maybe, you know, like this other author that's similar to you, but they're people who have certain jobs and certain lifestyles that might actually fit with what you're putting out in the world. So that's something you need to think about while you're marketing and stuff. So that's a really good tip.
Yeah, so the first thing is something I'm going to keep in mind as I write. And then the second thing I think is just a brilliant little marketing tidbit that I thought was cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think knowing and keeping in mind who your reader is really important. You know, writing what you want to write obviously is number one, but then writing who are you writing it for definitely is number two, obviously.
Right.
I've seen a lot of strangely after not seeing them at all for months, I've seen two now comments from authors on reviews specifically revolving around curse words in their books. And I can't remember who we were having a conversation with about this subject, specifically for military science fiction. Like there are people out there that are like, I can't believe there's cursing in this book. And my thing is like, it's military. Like if you don't know,
Rick got a review that there was not enough cursing.
So it's honest. It's weird because he got a review that wasn't enough cursing, but there was another author that got a review that there was too much. And I'm like, if you're reading Mill Sci-Fi,
you better expect some curse.
You've got to expect cursing. Like that's the military. There's
that's
just a.
But there was somebody who said there wasn't enough.
Well, it's because his. So the story is his main character is a Marine who had the character's ex-wife didn't like him cursing, and so he is trying not to curse because there was a reason for it. But they're like, for a hardened killer and a Marine, Space Marine, he just certainly has kind of a polite mouth or whatever. So,
well, how do they know that's wrong?
I mean, I can see that though. If you're making it like a character,
there's a reason for
kind
it,
of
right.
point. You know, that's. I mean, I respect that. But
Yeah,
I mean, I think those guys, guys who work in that kind of environment, you don't even hear it. I mean, I've never been a Space Marine, but I curse in front of my kids and I don't even hear it. And my wife loses her mind over it, right?
Me too.
You know?
Well, it's like verbal punctuation, really. I mean, how can you end a sentence without dropping an F-bomb? And how do you know you're done talking?
It's like how we end the show and start the post show every single time on a keystroke show.
That's true. Actually, we should probably not do that yet.
I almost did. I was right there, and then I thought better of it.
See, that's why you're a grown-ass adult. You can
well, that's debatable.
All right, so let's Ellen, what was your big takeaway?
My big takeaway. Well, I don't write, so my takeaway was probably a lot different from yours. And I can't even really put my finger on it. It's just excuse me, pardon me. It's going to sound terrible.
Bring it.
Yep. We're waiting.
I think I'm probably pretty good at what I do.
That doesn't sound terrible.
I would say that you are probably pretty good at what you do as well.
Yeah, but I mean, what brought that realization home to you? Because I was wondering what you guys talked about in the editors' panels.
Oh, in the editor panel, we talked about we mostly took questions. It was kind of interesting. It was whatever people had to ask, developing a better relationship with your editor. And I don't know, I felt like I flubbed it there in the beginning because I felt like all the rest of the stuff was pointed at me about don't take abuse from your editor and stuff like that.
No, it's a loving relationship.
It is a loving relationship. I
abuse.
take the abuse and the nebula, but whatever.
Right.
No, it's
Take the abuse and then nap you out. No, but it's true. That's hilarious, but it's totally
It's
true.
really important that you stand up, you look, and then you walk over to the abuse, and then you. I'm sorry.
no, but the thing is, I'm not actually abusive to anybody. And if I am abusive to you, it's because I love you and we have a long-term relationship. And you know that I'm coming from a place of love when I call you, whatever I just called you, or say that, or say that
Well,
reads
I
like you were
threatened to
drunk when you
Gut
wrote
you
it.
and hang
know?
you with your own
Yeah.
intestines. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so my takeaway is, maybe I'm not an idiot. I don't know.
You guys talked about finding an editor, like how to recommendations, get samples, and also how to communicate that your editor is on your team. You don't need to worry about competing with them, or they're not trying to tear you down. They're trying to help you.
Yeah, and I think the takeaway for them should be that if you don't feel that way in your relationship with your editor, you were with the wrong editor. That's not the right relationship for you. So, that's going to be what do you call it? Your pancake relationship or whatever.
I've not heard the pancake, but I'm curious.
Yeah,
I'm very curious.
It's the new rebound theory. Instead of rebound guy, you have pancake guy, because when you cook pancakes, the first one it turns out bad. You don't get it right. It's either burned or runny.
Oh yeah, you do have to make the bad one first, and then the rest of them are like
the bad pancake, and then you can move on.
Okay, I get that. I get it.
Huh.
That's legit. That's actually real. That's
All right.
advice. Sometimes you make a lot of pancakes, so.
As for
I make waffles.
faster.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're in a relationship with somebody that you don't feel like you can talk to or ask questions with, that's not the right editor for you. Get out. I mean, even if you're such an introvert that you cannot tell that person that you want out of the relationship, then finish up with the edits, walk away, and never look back and start over from the beginning.
Dean Floyd says, the editors here changed my writing and my life. I got to remember that on the audio feed, you cannot see what we're putting on the screen. Just FYI, if you're listening to the audio feed, you've missed about 1,000 comments that have been up on the screen so far. The screen, I got to
so epic and mind blowing.
Watch the live show.
Watch the live stream. T.S. Huddle says, seriously, though, I get a lot of Ellen's podcast, and Lauren once gave me some of the best feedback on a short. So
Lauren does give fantastic feedback. She really does.
I actually have to echo that, too, because the two things that I've done for the anthologies, I've gotten feedback from Lauren, and she pays attention to those details, gives very constructive, and I like how she peppers in compliments too. I really like that. Oh, well, thank you.
Well,
that was me, actually.
As a writer, I want to know what I'm doing well.
I've never gotten anything from you, Ellen.
I edited the fantasy anthology, Chuck.
Yep.
I don't remember seeing. I saw comments from her. I don't remember seeing comments from you.
Oh God.
Uh-oh.
I was scared of
Next question.
His voice goes up 2 octaves. I ain't scared of her.
Hey, I got whiskey in my glass. I turned into a 40-year-old black woman. Shut up.
What were you going to say, Lauren?
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
you're welcome.
Speaking of anthologies, I am getting ready to send contracts out for the space opera anthology, and I have the finalized-ish cover to show here live on the show if people are interested. And if they're not, maybe we just won't show it. Maybe they're not.
Don't do that to people. You show it.
Come on.
I don't see any interest. Let me know. I don't see any interest.
Where's the interest?
Nobody in the live chat that wants to see it.
Everybody in the live chat wants to see it.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Before I do that, Shadow stickers. I do have stickers. I have my own stickers, which are the Valkyrie stickers from Echoes of Valor. That's my cool unit patch from book
Red Bruno's got some of those stickers too.
Yeah, and he threw them in the trash can. And then our Keystroke vinyl stickers. Don't be a tease. I will. They're available on our website, but we also do randomly give them away to our mediums on our mediums list. All right, I won't be a tease. Gosh, that's so
Ooh, Dean Floyd's going full screen. He wants the full.
Gotta see it.
Full Monty.
Oh my God!
Bam! There we go.
Nice.
I think that's our best cover yet.
Oh.
That's really nice.
That's nice.
I'm not gonna lie. I realize my name puts me at the bottom of every list that I will ever be on for any anthology. But look at that. I'm on my own line.
You're on your
Yes.
own line.
Yep, you'd like the anchor, like everybody like the headline.
Foundation.
I actually
The foundation,
reformatted
exactly.
the author like 6 times trying to find the best way to fit all the names, and there it went. That's it.
You know, it's weird to me on covers. Whenever I look at any book cover, it's always some one tiny little thing that catches my eye. That it's the way the R and the T on farthest reach go completely to the border of the cover. I don't know why I like that so much, but I do. It just looks very space opera-ish to me.
Steve Bollier designed it and put it all together, and
He does great
really
typesetting.
Yeah.
Wow. Good job.
Fantastic.
So, bam. I'm not sure. We're going to send the contracts out tomorrow. Look, Chuck's frozen. Look at Chuck. Whoa. What? No, we need to do this.
No, don't do that.
Bill,
Come on.
Bill, we need a meme.
Come on.
We need a meme.
That's a bad one.
Whistle.
Oh,
Chuck the Whistler.
Oh, that's
my
awesome.
God.
That was great.
It was good.
I had nothing to do with that, by the way.
for the record.
Yeah, for the record. Okay, so now we're going to talk about our show sponsor for the show. And let me see if I can put this up here.
Can you guys still hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
You just look like you're blowing me a kiss the whole time.
Yeah, my whole screen's frozen. I don't know what's going on.
I'm not completely opposed.
I don't either.
But,
Frisbee got the screenshot.
yes.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. Bill's my hero, if you guys didn't know that.
He should be everybody's hero.
He should be.
He is.
He's good
Uh,
people.
okay.
True fact.
Let's I'm gonna get the come here, do what I say. Okay, here we go. Okay, here is the sponsor for today's episode. It's Optional Retirement Plan by Chris Porto. The ebook actually came out a couple weeks ago, but the audiobook just launched, performed by the great R.C. Bray. If you haven't heard R.C. Bray, then you're missing out on audiobooks. R.C. Bray is by far probably the best narrator when it comes to audiobooks in the history of audiobooks. If you haven't, he's done The Martian, all of most of the Galaxy's Edge stuff. Their first season, he did all of it. He did all.
You have to stay like R.C. Bray, or else his fans will literally hunt you down and
That's right.
throw rocks at you.
If you say anything bad about RC,
He is awesome for sure.
So, Optional Retirement Plan, Chris Bartow. This is published by 20Books. When retiring isn't an option, it's kill or be killed. Stax Fisher is a killer for hire. For more than 3 decades, he's loyally served the Syndicate Corporation as its most feared and respected enforcer around the solar system. He's buried the company's dirty laundry 6 feet deep, no matter who had to be taken out to do it. Now Stax has a problem. He's losing his mind to an incurable form of dementia and unwittingly spilled corporate secrets to the public. When SynCorp decides Fisher has outlived his usefulness, they decide it's time to permanently retire him. But Stax isn't quite ready to go. With everyone on SynCor's 5 factions gunning for him and his own mind slowly rebelling, Fisher leads... His character is the same as my character. His character's name is the same as my character. We're having a conversation, Porto.
Who published first?
We're gonna have to check that out. I think I did. I think I did.
You can't copyright a character.
But you can't copyright a character. I can copyright a character. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Fisher leads a pack of would-be assassins in a final deadly chase across the solar system. The old hitman refuses to fade quietly into oblivion at the hands of his disease or the businesses he's dedicated his life to. He's choosing an optional retirement plan of doom. Don't get a science fiction thriller filled with twists that will leave you on the edge of your seat. It's perfect for fans of Titanborn, The Expanse, and Minority Report. I really like Minority Report, actually. I thought it was a really good movie. Go pick it up.
I like to just call this one ORP.
ORP. Yes, definitely ORP. 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 Optional retirement plan. I'm going to put the link to the audiobook in the live chat of Doom. The live chat of Doom.
The live chat of
There you go.
Doom.
What's crazy now is now everybody I've created like a keystroke medium thing of Doom, and I like that. I think it's cool. Did Chuck bow out? I think Chuck left. Where'd Chuck? He disappeared.
He's probably trying to unscreen himself.
He should come back soon.
When he does come back, I'm gonna get that. Bill needs to send me the picture, and then I'm not gonna put his picture up. I'm just gonna put that in place of.
Nice.
Let's see. We were talking about biggest takeaways from the conference.
They did have a pretty good ACX had a pretty good panel. I went to. It was extremely boring, but there was a lot of good information there, and it basically talked about that you can. And I can't remember the guy's name. Gosh dang it, I had it right before we started talking, but he was as a doctor that basically started the lit RPG genre, and has like 100,000 ratings on his audiobooks, and he's just a really super engaged fan. They talked about some of the things they did, and I guess ACX has some tools and videos in ACX University that can be really helpful for people, and that it is pretty viable. So I find that very interesting. That was probably my big takeaway, besides just I enjoyed listening to certain panels.
I didn't go to any. I went to the Mill Sci-Fi panel to support Richard and Chris and Ken. I didn't go any panels, but the biggest takeaway oh God, Bill's already coming through for me. But the biggest takeaway I had from the conference was the importance of in-person networking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, I think that is probably the biggest. Even if you didn't learn anything from any of the panels, which is highly, I don't believe that you could do that. But if you went and didn't learn anything, the personal networking that you do at the, like, between panels, or even if you go to lunch and skip a panel or whatever, that I think is the biggest thing that you could take away from something like that. There's so many people that you can either that you know and that you hang out with already, or that you will meet there that will just stop and have a, you wear these.
Well, you can watch, and I think they filmed all the panels.
Yeah.
So you can go back and so what's more important, to make a in-person connection with somebody who could influence you, give you a personal piece of advice, or have a future collaboration with? That's more important than going to the panel. So we were pretty loose. I went in a lot of panels, but I would go in for 5 minutes and come out and go to a different one. I've kind of floated around. So, but the connections are huge. Yeah. It's hard to really explain how important they are.
Well, and it's interesting. You walk around with the 20Books badge, and we basically take over the hotel, the whole hotel. 20Books basically takes over the hotel, and
I think next year they're literally going to have all the rooms.
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
Yeah, next year they've got like 50. I think it's the entire hotel next year, 1,500 rooms. So that's pretty cool. But the bar in the atrium, or TGI Fridays, or just anywhere you find people. You sit down and you're like, hey, how are you? I'm this and this. This is what I write. And you have conversations with people. And that networking, I think, is the coolest thing that I think you could take away from anything like that, but specifically 20Books.
Oh, okay. So something that happened with Ellen and Lauren and Scott. So we went to In-N-Out with Richard, and it was our first times eating it. But while we're there was another 20-booker who's just sort of like standing off to the side by himself. And Lauren, being the amazing, friendly person she is, she's like, hello, who are you? And da-da-da-da. And she's like, well, and then I had gone outside with
Molly,
Scott and Richard.
Yeah,
and Molly. Yes,
and
Molly. And then he comes out. He's like, so there's a Lauren in there who told me that I guess I'm eating lunch with you guys, if you don't mind. I'm like, heck yeah, come on.
That's exactly what he said. It was great. And we had a great conversation with him. And then he sat down and talked with Richard Fox for quite a bit about, because he's a Mill Sci-Fi author and a veteran and things. It was awesome.
Yeah. Then later on, he came and sat with me on the panel.
The funny thing is he came back a few hours later. He's like, I didn't realize you guys were like a big deal. You know, so people were talking about like this keystroke medium, and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. Maybe I should check him out. And they're like, yeah, you know, they're Lauren and Scott and Josh and da da da. And he's like, wait, I had lunch with them today. So I just thought that was totally cool.
That is probably the best story ever.
Superstar.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was Web.
Yes,
Jake Lucas
Thomas
said there was 1,000 in 2019, and there's going to be 1,600 in 2020. 1,500
So many
people
writers.
next year, all 600 rooms.
Hmm.
Facebook user Mysterio.
Mysterious Facebook user.
And everybody knows the animatrons now, so everybody's ready for the animatronics when they come on and the light show plays and all that stuff. So I thought
I still haven't seen that.
it was awesome.
You're not missing anything at all. You're not.
I just thought it was funny how people reacted because everybody thought it was hilarious.
So I've got to share something that. So I've already got the meme from Bill, but there was something that he gave me
So fast.
a couple of weeks ago, which is probably the best meme ever for Keystroke, and I've got to share it now because there isn't any way that I can't share it, because this thing is really legit. Okay,
Just talk about it for about 10 minutes.
no. You guys want to see it? I don't know if you guys want to see it or not.
Yeah.
Maybe I should skip these and.
I might know which one this is, so you have to share it because I need to see if it's the one I think it is.
Is there a coyote in it? 'Cause
No, but I almost fell out of my chair dying.
Yeah.
Bill showed me this. Oh, and he came back right at the right time. He came back.
He was so nervous. He's like, is Chuck gonna hate it? And I'm like, no, he's totally gonna laugh. It's gonna be hilarious.
He said my wife told me I was joining a gym last week, and his book is called Master of Hounds. So Bill said,
That.
Master of. There he is. There's Papa Chuck.
What the fuck is this?
Oh, you're killing me, Chuck.
It's hilarious.
Oh my god!
It's
Who
like,
did that?
you fuckers.
For the audio listeners, it is Papa Chuck's official author picture, and underneath it says "Master of Pounds." My wife told me I was joining a gym last week.
Oh my god! And I
Very
did. I did. I joined the gym.
Yeah.
And I went for my little thing where the trainer like sets you up with a program and stuff. And I get like this 25-year-old, like super fit guy, you know, and he runs me through all these exercises and I do them for the most part. And then I could not walk for 2 days. I shit you not. I could not. The first day out, I could not stand up. My hips hurt so bad.
So you go to Vegas, and then you just walk the strip and through all of the
I
hotels
believe it.
for a
believe
week,
it.
and you'll be good. You'll be golden.
True.
Sorry about my little fallout there. I just had some kind of my whole damn computer crash for some reason.
Yeah, I have no idea why.
Nice. So what were we talking about? What did I miss?
We're still talking about kind of the biggest takeaways we had from the conference in reference to your question earlier. One of the things that I thought was cool, and hopefully we'll be able to do a little bit on it next year, is a lot of people wanting to start their own podcasts or wanting to know how to get into this type of atmosphere. I thought that was really cool. I pitched it to Chuck Craig, and we'll see. Maybe we can do a panel on it next year and give people some information. But I thought it was really cool to sit on a panel, and our panel was branding, and I don't have I don't do the whole entrepreneur. We've talked about that before, so I know branding. I know what it is, but I do it for me as a writer, and I do it for Keystroke. And I had the opportunity to sit on that panel and talk about just branding yourself. And I could see a lot of recognition in the importance of branding yourself as an author, but also just as a good person and someone that people would want to work with, whether it's with collaborations or editing or cover design or whatever. If you brand yourself as a good person and you brand yourself as a legitimate person, then you'll find success a lot easier than not. And what's great about that is you see people coming up. I had people coming up the whole conference, and we're just like, I really think that it's great that you guys are just you, and you can be you whether you're on air or in the group or in person. And I think that's there was one of the questions that was at the panel, and she asked, I'm really self-conscious about putting my face on camera, so I have a cat as my Amazon profile picture. I have a cat, and she wanted to know, should I do something different or am I doing it wrong? And my answer to her was, I think you should double down on that and just be. I didn't say be the cat lady in that way, but if that's your thing, like double down on it and make that your brand. And
the cat writer.
Yeah. I mean, if that's something then that it's important to you and that is your thing, then I think that you should claim that and hold on to it and that is your authentic thing.
All the essential advice we gave on branding was to be authentic and kind of do what calls you. And I think people, from the reactions of the crowd, because I like to look at people's faces and see if they're nodding or looking at us or falling asleep. But everybody seemed they seemed to really like the message. They were down with it. They were paying attention, and you could see some nods of, yeah, this makes perfect sense. This isn't as hard as it sounds. There was a few things we got into some. Well, Mal got into some things about like putting your name on the book the same way every time, and some practical stuff like that too. But the big thing was to really be authentic, and not overthink it.
Yeah, Jake Clifton says he's beginning to realize that branding the author is more important than branding the series, which I think is true. Because like we've talked about it before, there's a lot of writers that write many different series, but you might not read all of their stuff. You might read one series here and one series there. But it's the author that carries it through, and I think that is important.
Dean wants to know if we're going to have a KSM conference or get together. So get together.
Get together. We've talked about it several times. I'm not quite sure on the logistics, and I don't. I'm not sure. It would be fun. I think it would be really fun.
We're kind of scattered. I mean, it would be.
Yeah. Well, it was like every time we got into an Uber, so where are y'all from? Oh, well, we've got Idaho, Denver, Alabama. And it's just like the Uber drivers are just like, oh, okay, wow, you guys are literally from all over.
Yeah.
Shadow says, I don't want to go to Kansas. No one wants to go to Kansas voluntarily.
Yeah. I lived in Kansas for seven weeks and
nearly
I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back.
The scariest environment imaginable. Yeah.
That's it. I don't think I stopped the entire state.
The nice thing is you can probably sleep during that drive and you'll still make it.
As long as you have good alignment on your car.
You're probably going to make it. So
I'm trying to think of what are the things about the conference that, like, do we want to sell the conference to people who haven't been there, or I don't know. And then in the live chat, do you guys have any thoughts or questions on if you're on the fence about going next year, or at all? Do you have any questions on the conference or what you can get out of it? Let us know.
Well, in that vein, I mean, a lot of the panels are definitely tailored more towards the beginning intro level. I might know a couple things, but I really don't understand a whole bunch of other. So, I mean, if you're just new to the game, you have a couple books out, but you're not sure how to do one thing or the other. I mean, those panels are fantastic. The first year that they did the 20 books, I went to every single one, because I needed to know all the things. I wanted to know all the things everybody on the panels had to say. And I wanted to know it in person. In the second year, it was kind of half and half. I was starting to know a bit more, and I kind of wanted to hang out a bit more with the people that I have, grown relationships with. And this year, I would sit on, maybe 5 minutes a panel and just be like, okay, well, I've kind of gone away from that realm of thinking and writing. So I'm just going to back out casually, look at my phone like, oh, I have a phone call. And, and then go see what my other peeps were doing and, walk 5 feet and then end up in a conversation. So, I mean, there's definitely something for everybody. So if you're contemplating whether or not to go, I definitely say try to go, because there's going to be something there for you.
Yeah, you won't regret it. I mean, I can say that.
I like Cronus's comment about it, laser tag. We can shoot each other with laser guns and find out who are the Legionnaires, the Stormtroopers, and the red shirts.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I was this past weekend, I had to drive. I helped a local car dealership move their inventory over to a new lot, and
I know that's awful.
It helped my son's band situation. So I spent all day doing that. But I was driving by the Space and Rocket Center a bunch of times. And at the Space and Rocket Center here, we have this thing called the Davidson Center or something. I can't remember, but it's got all the engines and all the guts of a Saturn V rocket hanging from a ceiling in this big building. And it's got all this stuff about the Space Center stuff. And I know they do events there. And I was thinking how cool it would be if we had like a KSM conference in that venue, and maybe did like a live podcast kind of thing from that. I have no idea what it would cost or what it would take to make it happen. But I thought, with considering the general branding of KSM, that would be like the perfect spot to do something like that. So, sure.
It's the Davidson.
We can talk.
Davidson
What's it called?
The Davidson Center for Space Exploration.
That's what it's called. Yes.
This is the beginning of dreams.
But anyway, we were talking about conferences. I thought I'd throw that out there. Just,
that would be a good one.
Jay Clifton Slater says this year sold out in 20 minutes. So if you're thinking about going, make the decision far in advance. There was another Facebook user, Mysterio, says it was well worth it. If anyone is on the fence, the combination of panel info and networking is helpful. Josh Giselle says it's worth it just to meet people face to face, even if you skip nearly every panel. And the thing about that is that this year, and I'm sure it's going to be the same next year, all of the panels are recorded. And so even if you don't go to all of them, you can still watch all of them after the fact. Because
I have several I'm getting ready to watch. I've been making a list of all the ones that I want to see. There's with Dean Wesley Smith, I guess somebody recommended I watch that one. It's supposed to be really good. And some of those. And the greatest thing I think about this whole conference, on top of the networking and everything else, is that it's extremely cheap. The conference itself is extremely cheap. Like you can go to different conferences around the country, and they range from $300 to $400 to $500 to $1,000 sometimes. Some of the stuff that Scott and I have heard about in the last couple of years, you look at $5,000 to go to some of these events just to get into the door. And 20 books is, I think it's like $150. It's $150 for 3 days. They give you a free lunch on whatever day, someday. But then you get access to all of this. You get access to the streaming content, the live video recording. And where else can you meet 1,500 authors? I mean, legitimately. The creative recharge and just the connection with the people is worth it all by itself. I mean, it just always is.
Yeah.
You can't overstate that. It's worth every penny.
And Rick does say, not including hotel, which is true. And if you stay at Sam's Town, you get a discounted rate if you get in the first batch of people that are staying there. You get
even then, that's pretty cheap. I went to one of the Smarter Artists, and it was at a really nice venue, but it was expensive. I've been to several that the hotel stuff started to stack up pretty quickly.
I can't remember exactly what the hotel special was. If you know in the live chat, let me know this year for this year. But I want to say it was like $49 or $59 a night or something like that. Maybe it was a little bit more expensive than that, but it was not super expensive. And so the conference is $150, and then you pay for however many days you're staying there. So it's a 3-day conference. So let's just say it's $150.
It's not bad. We stayed off site this year, which was really awesome. But all the years that we stayed on site at Sam's Town, it was also really convenient because, you could be like, I think I'm peopled out. I'm going to go take a nap, and you just go up to your room and hit the rack or dump off because when you first go to the conference, you'll start with a backpack and a laptop and a battery charge pack and 2 cameras and a podcast stand and a jacket.
No, I won't.
I'm not even bringing my computer next year.
And by your 3rd year, you have nothing. You have your cell phone in
Your
your back.
phone and your wallet, and that's it.
Yeah, Scott and I came with 2 carry-ons this year, and we both made the unanimous decision. Next year, we're coming with 1 bag, and we're not carrying it around anywhere.
Yeah.
Dean Floyd says, I went to 20 Books 2016 knowing literally no one, went by myself, walked away with hundreds of friends.
I think that's where we met.
We did meet him at the KSM meetup there. So yeah, super cheap. Definitely worth it. I mean, also the other thing is they're not selling you anything there. Sometimes you go to conferences and they try to sell you on, buy this writing package or buy this editing package or
sign up for this timeshare.
Yeah, there's nothing sold there. I'm not even sure they can legally sell anything there. But it's everybody that even the people that are given I mean, Lauren hung out with Kevin J. Anderson like the whole week. Like I was super jealous. Like
kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I'm like, look at him. Isn't that Kevin J. Anderson? We were sitting at the bar and I go, that's Kevin J. Anderson. Maybe I should go say hi. And here's Lauren. Hi, Kevin.
My 3 photos was him putting his chin on my head. And being like, hey. To which Tyler, he was fangirling so hard, and I'm like, ask for a picture with him. Okay, well, fuck it, man. Okay, everyone's getting in on the picture now, and Kevin's like, chin on your head.
Yeah, and Kevin J. Anderson will take a picture with you. He's cool like that.
Yeah,
he's good.
Don't be intimidated. Just do it.
The big secret is authors are just people like you and me.
Yeah. Although I did with Mark, I saw Mark Dawson a couple times, and I briefly said, "Hey, thanks for your stuff, and keep doing what you're doing, and I'm a fan of what you're doing," because he was really overwhelmed. You could tell he couldn't move a foot,
right?
Without having like 6 people, and so I was respectful that I didn't overwhelm. Although some people got a little more contact with him, and he's super nice. He would have stood there and talked to you. That's the thing. He would have stood there and talked to you the whole day and not eaten his dinner because he's just a super nice guy. But so anyway,
Jeffrey Haskell says he had dinner with Brian Cohen and lunch with Lindsay Baroker. It was
wow, that would be cool.
Cool.
I actually wouldn't mind talking to Baroker.
Yeah,
she's I listened to her old the science fiction fantasy marketing podcast for a long time
too,
and
a new one too.
She just has she's just got a mind for that whole. The business side, but she's really good at marrying it to what she wants to write. You know what I'm saying? To finding that balance between the two.
Which is an awesome.
I mean, that's an awesome skill to have for real.
Yeah, I need to wax my business skill more.
Don't we all?
Tia Tuttle says I'd probably get "you don't look like you do" in the chat room, which I think actually everybody gets that. Everybody.
Yeah. Camera.
I had so many people coming up to me. Hey, Kalene.
What I think is funny is Kalene and
that
Lauren
would freak
now
me
look
out.
exactly
That
the same
would freak
thing,
me out.
and they are not at all.
Yeah, that would freak me out because, I mean, I'm not interested in the whole fame thing. I mean, I'd love the money that comes with it, but I'm not interested in the whole fame thing. People walking up to me going, "Hey, Chuck," and I have no idea who they are. I'm like, oh, hold up. What? Who are you?
You would know how they know you because they'd be wearing a T-shirt with the last meme we did of you on it.
Oh.
That's it. We're doing so.
Chuck
We're going to
T-shirts. Next year we're giving away 1,000 T-shirts.
We're going to do.
Oh my
We're
God.
going to do Chuck meme T-shirts, and we're going to do Doom T-shirts. I think it was Chrissy said we need to do Doom T-shirts.
I hate you so much.
Hey, did you say he did the new one?
Do what?
Well,
it's not a meme yet. It's just a picture.
Okay.
It'll
So close.
be a meme. We got so everybody in the live chat, if you can type in your memes, your meme,
your meme suggestions,
Papa Chuck
narrative, Papa Chuck narrative, so we can get that in there.
Oh my God.
We can have we'll have a poll and see who can come up with the best meme for this picture right here.
No. Oh my God!
In the keystroke, somebody put a poll in the keystroke group, and we'll see who can come up with the best Chuck
I look like I'm trying to
Oh,
whistle.
put it on a mug.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Put it on. Oh, it's
Put
definitely
it on a mug.
It's
Put
definitely
it on a milk
No.
carton.
But so I think you should put on a mug, but in the bottom of the mug. So when you look down, your coffee's gone.
Slowly peeking over the coffee.
On the inside of the mug.
Oh,
As you drink the
I'm-
coffee, you see
I'm
more
trying
and
to
more.
help you
Oh my
cool it
God.
off.
Oh, the kiss of doom. I like that, Tyler. The
oh
kiss
my
of doom.
gosh.
I like that.
One does not simply go,
Go to the gym.
Not at my age.
Nice.
Holy
Good
crap.
stuff.
See, this is what you
So
guys
glad you came on the show, Chuck. Chuck
Oh
wasn't
my
going to come on tonight, but he's really made the show.
Well, I didn't know if I'd have anything to add because I didn't go to the conference, but
First of all,
apparently...
even if you don't add anything intelligible, you add memes. Almost more important
Thanks, Josh.
Meme
than
generator.
anything else. If
Meme
Chuck doesn't say anything intelligent the entire episode, we'll get one good meme. And that's really
Chuck
all
always
it is.
does, but Chuck always is our most insightful. I mean, he usually makes more sense than the rest of us. Let's just
I just bullshit.
That's why he's
better than
Papa
the
Chuck.
rest of you.
That's why he's Papa Chuck. If you guys didn't see, Kalene did another read today, another story time with Kalene, and it was very, very good.
I went a little extra long because I know some of you missed it last week because obviously I was flying off to Vegas.
And
So
you
I went
read-
a little
what
extra
book
longer.
Did you read this morning?
I did book 1 of The Goddess Gambit by B. Michael Stevens, or Mr. Ben.
Mr. Ben.
Yes.
Oh, cool story about that. So
yeah, he got a gig. I think.
he came to us and he was like, "Hey, I don't know if I want to approach and blah blah blah." Still super secret, but so he was like, "Should I do it?" And Scott and I were like, "Hell yeah, dude, go do it." And he was like, "All right, got the gig."
Yeah,
so-
we specifically said you have to because he wanted to approach a certain collaborator who we
Yes.
both know,
Yes.
and he told us about what his story was, and we talked about it, and then we said, okay, you have to make the pitch before you leave this conference.
Yep.
And the next,
Yeah.
Very
Well,
cool.
don't
Yeah.
wait.
Very cool.
Yeah. And he
And he
did,
got
and he got it, and they're
And he
going to
got
move forward. So it's very awesome.
That's
I'm
very
super
awesome.
excited for that one. That's what we were blowing our minds about walking
Yes.
down the streets of Vegas.
Yes. Super.
I shall
cool.
say no more. I don't want to give away the secret.
Secret. Also, super secret. There's another thing that's happening with 3 of the people that are in this group that I'll let them talk about later. That's pretty cool that they're doing. They're all-
Oh, yeah, he means
Lauren
us.
got it. Holy
I
crap!
got it. I got it right away. He means us.
Yes. If you guys don't want to talk about it, that's cool. But it's really cool. Something they're going to set up later. So, I
The
was
new year brings new things.
New year brings new things. Gosh, it's almost time for season 5.
Man, it's crazy.
Cinco de
Doom.
Let's see. What do we have going on next week? Lauren, what do you got? Who do you have on Thursday?
We have Louise Hardby coming on. She is
Oh, nice.
favorite editor, maybe. This is for her. You've been sharing her articles, and now I'm going to have you and her on the show at the same time to meet and talk about dialogue together.
Yes.
I will actually
Oh,
have a desk, so
good.
I won't be. Hopefully, I won't be on the run anymore.
Dialogue is probably one of my favorite aspects of writing. That'll be interesting to talk about.
I think it's one of the most fun to do.
I just really like words like placed and walked and looked. I like it when Ellen tells me about it.
Or
You
took
see
the
the
object
vein-
from one place
Vein
and
is
set it on
popping
another.
out in her head right now.
Some people thrive on the abuse,
Yeah, glutton for punishment makes you stronger.
and look where it got you.
It did all the way to here.
Everybody that came out and hung out with us tonight in the live stream, good God, you guys were great. Thank you guys always for coming out and hanging out with us. Trying to do a lot more interactive stuff with you guys. So
I desperately would like everybody to be at the conference sometime, and I'd love to do a live podcast like with all these people in the audience and everybody. I don't know.
That would
We
be
tried
fun.
this year, it just never seemed to
Yeah,
come to fruition.
Well,
that would be a lot of
Podcast-
fun.
the first
Podcast
part
the
I
meetup next
went to, they did that. They did a podcast, and there's a lot of technical stuff. You have to have like an actual sound crew and a bunch of things, but
Yeah.
I think it would be the most epic thing ever.
I agree. And we'll talk about doing it. If there's enough people that want to do a keystroke meetup, we'll talk about it. We'll see. Maybe for next year. Not at 20 books, like something completely different.
I think we could probably find
Yeah.
something like Hayesville or maybe maybe Garden City. I'm from Garden. Yeah, Hayes, Tucky.
Yeah.
I'm from Garden City. I'm pretty sure we get some space out there.
Oh yeah. For
I lived in Garden City
Oh,
Yeah.
for 7 weeks.
Yeah, it's character building.
That's right.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I grew up there, and I turned out okay.
I don't know what's up with the Garden Cities, but mine's no better.
Everybody has their Garden City. Let's be sure.
I think look, it's even Dean is like we could get a Airbnb, a huge house. All
Oh, dude, we could do a
back.
total what is it? America's Top Model thing in a giant house.
Yes.
Actually,
Reality show. Let's do a reality show. Keystroke Medium reality show. Coming.
I actually did something like that one time. Me and a bunch of friends, we rented this enormous house on the beach down in Florida. And we had like a big gaming weekend where all these people just came and we had different rooms and we were playing different games and stuff. It worked out. It was a lot of fun and it wasn't super expensive for a lot of people.
That would be pretty legit, actually. All right. Well, with that, we're going to wrap it up tonight. I think
America's top keystroker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Next top stroker.
Get vote. You can win the immunity challenge and get voted off the stroker or whatever. I don't know.
You are the
Just get
weakest link.
cut.
Yeah.
You.
Instead of a rose, you have that keyboard.
You have been cut.
If this is the first time watching or listening to the show, make sure you're subscribing. We need to subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Podbean or iTunes, which is where the majority of our audience is. And thank you guys for listening. Every episode you listen to pushes it higher up the charts. Every like you give us on YouTube pushes us up the algorithm. So get us out there, share us around.
Everybody should like, subscribe, and get 5 of your friends to like and subscribe.
That's true.
Hit the bell.
That would be and hit the
Or
bell.
we will find you.
Right.
And
We
we
have a
will
certain
cut
set of
you.
skills. And of doom.
Of doom.
Of doom.
Boom.
All right, we're going to come back next week. We're going to talk about some reading. We're going to talk about some writing and everything in between right here on Keystroke Medium. See you.
Peace.
Peace.